Hiya! And welcome back to Sileo Tales of a New Dawn, the game that scarred us all for life with the invention of Thin Diego. I actually came up with something right there. Unfortunately. Okay, let's bring up the censorship because if I remember correctly, I don't think anyone went. Well, I mean, I'll obviously see it. I don't think anyone wants to see. Yeah, I think you get it. Let's just jump right in. Before the two of us could return to Ty's for the evening, I first requested that we make a brief stop at Diego's house. I informed Ty that the reason for this detour was to grab belongings such as a toothbrush and a change of clothes for the overnight stay. The part that I left out, however, was that before all the recent chaos unfolded, I purchased Ty a gift of my own for his birthday. A gift that remained entirely forgotten until the big day, but a gift I still hoped to give, even if it was overdue. And so, having arrived at Diego's, I took a deep breath. Considering the previous night, I was at least a little concerned about the state I would find Diego in once I made my way to the living room. And as it would happen, I was right to be worried.
I think I'm lonely.
Okay, look, can you please put your penis away?
No.
I'm not gonna.
This is exactly what I'm thinking right now.
Okay, look, can you please put your penis away?
No.
I'm not gonna ask you again. Put your penis away.
I am who I am.
Diego, please, for the love of God, please, put your penis away. Put your penis away, Diego. Please. Please. Put your penis away. Uh-oh, look at the loser who came home tonight. What gives, huh? You ought to be getting laid tonight, not coming back here. I sighed, stroking my furrowed brow in unmistakable dismay. I don't even know what I expected. Were you even listening when I asked you to wear some clothes tonight? I was, but were you? I explicitly made no promises. Besides, what's the problem? You've seen it all before, right? Sure, I have, but has Ty? What? What do you... A very good evening to you, Diego. Are you not feeling cold with that choice of attire? It is a rather chilly night, I must say. What the fuck? He's doing the pizza box thing. I mean, howdy, hey, boss man. Wasn't expecting you. Well, that is certainly stating the obvious. Of course, Ty's timely arrival was no mere accident. The topic of Diego's nudity the night before had been discussed between the two of us on the journey over. And of course, I had been listening when Diego made no promises to dress himself, a detail I relayed to Ty during our conversation. Using this information, Ty concocted the most fiendish of schemes. He would follow me inside only to hang back in the hallway until I gave him an obvious cue. Either Diego would be dressed and all would be well, or Diego would not be dressed and would soon learn a harsh lesson in decency. Naturally, Diego had not been dressed. The confidence with which he had initially exposed himself dissolved in an instant once Ty's presence became known. I only hoped it would be enough to correct Diego's inappropriate behaviors in the future. Wait a second, didn't you throw that pizza box out last night? I did. It's a different one. A different one? You mean to say you ordered pizza again tonight? Sure did. Shit's delicious. Diego, you really must take better care of yourself. Eating pizza night after night cannot be doing you any favors. But that's where you're wrong. It's doing my wallet one hell of a favor. Cheap and filling. Is money an issue for you? Nah, not really. Then your monetary excuse for eating so much pizza holds little weight. That ain't true. Just because I can afford to eat better doesn't mean that I should. Diego, that is precisely why you should. What do you suggest I do? Whip up fancy-ass recipes here at home every night? That does not sound so bad, surely. It costs more money, takes more time, and I'd rather just be eating a delicious-ass pizza instead. I work too many hours to even be bothered with that kind of shit. Oh, Diego, I worry about you, you know. No need, I'm doing great. Diego, from now on, you are entitled to a free meal after every shift you work. Actually, forget that. You are entitled to a free meal every night, even if you did not work. Whoa, you ain't serious, right? I too was taken aback by Ty's sudden and generous offer, though I could certainly get behind the spirit of the offer, and I knew it was not something Ty would have offered were it subject to any sort of financial strain. Aiden, do you have any objections? Nope, I trust you to know what you're doing, and some time away from all that pizza grease, it might do Diego some good. Do you plan to extend that same offer to Russell as well? Ah, good thinking, my dear. It would hardly be fair if we did not. Hold up a sec, there's gotta be a catch, right? Not exactly, so long as you pick a single meal from the main course menu. You might take advantage of this offer as much as you may take advantage of this offer as much as you wish. After all, even the unhealthiest main courses are vastly better than eating pizza every night. Oh man, this is awesome! Russell's gonna be so stoked when he finds out, too. I really owe you one, Ty. Thanks heaps. It is our pleasure, my friend. So long as you are eating healthier meals, I can rest easy. Oh. Now that I recall, this offer does come with one small condition. Oh yeah? Hit me. So long as you are sharing your home with guests, please make more of an effort to be decently dressed. No promises. I suppose you do not want free chicken. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Self-voicing enabled. Ty, I suppose you do not want free chicken parmigiana every night after all. Self-voicing disabled.
Whoa there, let's not be so hasty. Will you make an effort going forward? Ugh, fine. Damn it, you know me way too well. I'm a total sucker for a thick, juicy parmigiana. And man, I'm gonna destroy some... Bemused, both Ty and I watched on as several slices fell from the box Diego was holding to shield his dignity. Though did he truly have any dignity left at this stage? He peered downward with a mild look of heartbreak, no doubt in mourning for those few brave slices we lost. Oh, I hadn't finished eating this one yet. And once again, you really are stating the obvious. Hey, so, you saw it, right? Ty? My dick, I mean. It was difficult to miss, all out in the open as it was. Yeah, I guess you got a point there, and I guess there's no point in hiding it either. Oh no, I did not suggest. Be free, my delicious greasy friends. Diego, could you not have waited until Aiden and I had left? Nope, there are 2 more slices in there, and I don't want them joining the others on the floor. Speaking of which, let me fetch a container for these delicious stray wedges of cheesy goodness. You still intend on eating them, even after they have been on the floor for so long? 5-second rule? It has been considerably more than 5 seconds, Diego. 5-minute rule then. It changes nothing, because I'm still gonna eat them. There are way worse things that can happen to a pizza, you know? Anyway, I'll be back in a jiffy. That could not have been timed more better. Like, I'm just reading this and it says, Diego is an enigma. And then Ty's over here saying, sometimes I cannot help but worry about that boy. I feel you, Ty, I really do. At least you found a way to get him eating better. That's a victory in my eyes. Indeed, baby steps, I suppose. We will make a man of him yet. I'm sure we will. Anyway, the sooner I fetch my belongings, the sooner we can escape from Diego's never-ending stream of disappointments. Do you mind if I just bring my whole suitcase? Almost everything I need is already in there, so it's probably the easiest option. Easy sounds wonderful to me, my dear. Would you like any assistance? No thanks, I already know where everything is, so this won't take more than a moment. And you know, maybe it would be best if you remained here to supervise? After you might have a point there, my love. I'll be seeing you shortly then. Yep, see you in a moment. Good luck and have fun. Yes, fun, of course. Following a brief stop along the way, which I collected my toothbrush, shampoo, and other toiletries from the bathroom, I finally arrived in Diego's spare bedroom. Wasting no time, I promptly unzipped my suitcase and placed those items safely within. Next, I retrieved my phone charger, my deodorant, and a few rather odds and ends that lay scattered in various positions throughout the room, returning these to the safety of my suitcase as well. It was then that I reached my hand into the mesh netting on the underside of the suitcase lid, retrieving a slender metal cylinder from within, which I began inspecting closely. Its label read Tiger's Bane, though regrettably, this was the extent of what it said, doing little to disperse the mystery surrounding the product. While the shopkeeper had attempted an explanation at the time of my purchase, I could not rightly say that I fully understood a single thing about it. The only thing I knew for sure was that this product would have some kind of sexual application, and given the trajectory of the days thus far, it seemed a sure thing that we would have ample opportunities later on to make use of such a mysterious item. I slipped the canister into my pocket before quickly taking inventory of my belongings. From a brief glance, it seemed as though everything was in order, though it was hardly as though I had taken a list of everything I brought along with me. I crossed my fingers that I wasn't forgetting anything as I closed the zips on my suitcase and lifted it onto its wheels. Extending the handle, I then began rolling the suitcase behind me as I made my exit from the bedroom, switching off the lights on my departure. Just because your brother does not mean that you should too, Diego. Oh, Sam is way worse than I am, make no mistake. That is no excuse! The sound of suitcase wheels rolling along the wooden hallway floor announced Aiden's arrival long before he even entered the room. His entire suitcase seemed an awful lot for a single night stay, but hey, who was I to judge? I'm back, sorry about the wait, what did I miss? Diego was just telling me all about his brother Samson, who allegedly takes Diego's penchant for nudity to a whole new level. He so does! I visited home after I graduated, right? They all knew I was coming. So I had just arrived, right? And I was chatting to my dad and my little spro Isaac in the kitchen when Sam walks in wearing nothing but a pair of socks. And get this, he turns to me and is like, "Oh Diego, sup, forgot you were coming." Only to carry around fetching himself a bowl of cereal with his dick hanging out like it was nothing. Worse yet, Isaac was only like 10 or so back then. The poor kid just tells me, that's normal, he doesn't wear clothes around the house. And you know what my damn dad tells me? You try getting some clothes on him. I gave up a long time ago. Your point being, Diego? My point being, it could be worse. You guys are lucky to have me and not Sam. I have a job, I own a house, he just lives at home with mom and dad and smokes a fucking ton of pot. So don't go getting all judgmental and shit just because I enjoy the feeling of breeze on my nuts from time to time. At least it ain't all the time. Sometimes it still feels like it is, though. Oh, shut your trap. You didn't seem all that upset when you joined in last night. Hey! Aiden, did you really? It wasn't by choice. As I recall, Diego here pantsed me. Oh yeah, that's right, I did do that. Dear me, whatever will I do with the two of you? Don't include me in this! Come on, Ty, there ain't nothing wrong with a pair of besties hanging out with all... Come on, Ty, there ain't nothing wrong with the pair of besties hanging out with it all hanging out. I will just have to take your word for that, Diego. Aiden, I take it you have ready to get moving? Yep, just say the word. Ha! What, running away already? You can't handle what real meat looks like. Whoa, things got real gay in here all of a sudden. They sure did. Are you jealous, Diego? Psh, you wish. I've got a cozy nut plan with a whole new season of Hotline Himbo to catch up on. If anything, you guys are the ones missing out. Of course. How foolish that we thought otherwise. Shall we, Aiden? Yep, let's go. See you, Diego. Have fun with your TV show. Have a good night. Farewell. Later, homos. Enjoy your gay-ass sword fighting or whatever. Oh, don't you worry. We will. And just like that, I was alone once again. Almost as though they had never been here to begin with. Except I knew they had been. And now I also knew the kind of mischief they were planning on getting up to later, too. Fucking damn it. Yeah, okay, I admit I was a little jealous, okay? I was a lot jealous. The mere thought was accompanied by all manner of weird and wonderful mental imagery, all of which I carefully and methodically Not good show. It was a cruising app, you know, the sort that connects like-minded guys so they can usually take care of their needs. I was never the type to do that sort of thing, but I had grown curious in a prior moment of weakness, installing the app and never actually using it. I felt kind of like a sleaze, but desperate times called for desperate measures, right? At this rate, I'd be getting cobwebs down there, and I didn't want to be... Fuck it. I retrieved my phone from my pocket and located the app among my disorganized collection of mismatched screens. Once I'd found it, I fired it up. Seconds later, a grid appeared populated by guys who were in proximity to me. I'd expected I wouldn't be the only loser looking for a quick lay on an otherwise unassuming Tuesday night, but I found myself surprised all the same by the unexpectedly sizable selection. Despite that, it was the profile closest to me, a mere few hundred meters away that would capture my focus. There was no photo attached, but there was a bio along with some other information, which I began to read. Oh god, guaranteed, huh? Now I really was curious. What do you mind that I was all flabby and shit? His profile did say he wasn't fussy. 20 years old, 5 feet 4 inches tall, 56 kilograms, a little guy. Though too old to be Axel, and thank fuck for that. I continued to gaze at the profile for a long, long time as my heart began beating loudly within my chest. And I felt so pathetic. But this was still better. Thankfully for me, it seemed as though this guy was of exactly the same mind. Thank fuck. Thank God. Well, here we are again. Welcome, my love. Please make yourself at home while I change into something more comfortable. Here, allow me to take your suitcase to the bedroom with me. Thanks, Ty. I'm going to bring back the censorship because I feel like I know where this is going to go. Ty promptly vanished down the hallway with my suitcase in tow as I got myself settled and comfortable on the living room sofa awaiting his return. Though I'd already visited Ty's abode once already that day, that attendance had been under less than ideal circumstances. This was the first visit today which I would be able to take a load off and relax, and after the day we've had, some time off seemed rather overdue. I peered out the living room windows into the yard beyond and watched as the rain bucketed down from the stormy night skies above. When the two of us had arrived at Diego's, the once clear evening skies had filled with ominous dark clouds, and within minutes of our departure, the heavens would open wide, signaling the beginning of the storm in which we found ourselves now. Luckily, it was warm and dry here in Ty's beautiful home. For a time, I'd feared I would never set foot within these four walls. Never again lounge on his comfortable, upmarket furniture. Never again enjoy his wonderful company or feel the warmth of his tender, loving embrace. Thankfully, that horrible outcome had not come to pass, and I could not resist breaking into a broad smile, ecstatic that everything had worked out for the best. It truly was the best result I could have ever hoped for. Oh, thank God. I apologize for keeping you waiting, my love. Only a tank top? Aren't you cold? Not as cold as Diego must have been, that much is for sure. And fear not, my dear, for my choice of attire takes a roaring fire into consideration. That said, one moment, I think I know where this is going and I don't like it. Please. Ty approached the fireplace and retrieved a box of matches from atop the mantelpiece. With the door ajar, I noticed fresh wood had already been loaded within. It seemed as though Ty was well prepared. There we have it, my love. None shall want for warmth within these walls. That is a promise. And should the heating fail and fire refuse to light, there will always be the warmth of my embrace. Oh wow, that was all kinds of corny. I loved it. Though if I'm honest, I trade fire and central heating for that source of warmth any day. I'd anticipated such a response. Thankfully, you will not have to make that sacrifice. You'll have 3 sources of comfort at your disposal this evening. Now then, it was exactly 10 days ago that we last shared an evening here. The last time was the night of the festival. Do you recall what we did following our arrival? As if I could forget, I was walking a little funny the following day. A definite sign of a night well spent, no? I keep bringing it back up in fear. While I suspect this evening will be a repeat of many of the events that transpired that day, it only makes sense that we start at the beginning, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it all began with a toast to a successful day and to us. I'd like to request that we do the same this evening, for I believe another celebration is in order, and I have just the perfect beverage in mind for such an occasion. You do? Well then bring it on. I'd be honored to share a drink with you. I am delighted to hear that, my love. I will be but a moment. I watched as Ty headed towards the kitchen and began preparing 2 glasses upon his arrival, loading the bottom of each with ice before reaching inside his liquor display. His hand never once wandered beneath the topmost shelf. Finally, Ty would turn back around, and his reason for wanting to share a drink with me became crystal clear. Held carefully within his right hand was a still-sealed bottle, I don't know how to pronounce that, a whiskey that hadn't been produced in approximately 2 decades. It was a whiskey that held a special place in Ty's heart, and one that was, allegedly, rather vile. As I peered outside the thick glass windows of Ty's cozy living room, I watched as the rain fell in thick sheets that stretched in the darkness beyond the limits of my vision. I was determined that I would not be the one to rain on Ty's parade. I would never ruin this moment that was of such importance to the man I loved most. I knew this beverage, foul or otherwise, meant the world to him, and I was the one he had chosen to share it with. That meant the world to me. Here is your drink, my dear. Thank you. I retrieved the glass from Ty's outstretched hand. A shot of whiskey served on the rocks. I took a daring sniff of the contents of my glass, only to reel back involuntarily. A scent not unlike petrol fumes having flooded my nose, rendering me more than a little lightheaded. Oh dear. Wow. Quite something, is it not? The taste is even more striking. I'm afraid you will probably have a harder time with this whiskey than the one we shared last time around. But it is a special occasion after all. You know, it suddenly makes sense why Gran gave you this stuff as a kid. I bet it could tranquilize a horse. A horse, perhaps, but a bull? Most certainly. And I know this from experience. You see, a half-finished bottle was among Gran's belongings when she passed, and Lucas did the honor of sharing that final bottle with me all those years ago. His tolerance has improved in the many years since, but back then, a mere quarter bottle down, and it was lights out for such an impressive duration that I actually considered seeking out medical aid. Just a quarter bottle is all it takes to bring a big guy like Lucas down in a screaming heap. This stuff is clearly the real deal. Indeed it is. That was the last time I tasted this whiskey. I'm so very grateful that I get to taste it once again, especially with such wonderful company. Thank you for going to such lengths to obtain this gift for me, Aiden, and thank you for doing me the honor of sharing it with me. No, thank you. I know how much this means to you, and I can't help but feel special for being the one who gets to share it with you. You're special, my love. Make no mistake, more special than you could ever know. Now, I know the taste may be a little extreme, Lucas also suggested, and after his lengthy slumber, he swore that never again would a single drop of this whiskey cross his lips, and I, for one, cannot blame him. That said, I do not expect you to finish your glass. I'm not that cruel. It would mean the world to me all the same if you joined me in sharing this first taste. I knew that if it tasted anything like it smelled, I would quickly come to regret my decision. But it was a sacrifice I was more than willing to make for Ty's happiness, and so I stated my commitment with pride and determination. I will match you drop for drop, and that's a promise. My goodness, I appreciate it truly, but at least wait until you have tasted it to make such a bold statement. Doesn't matter, I genuinely don't care how gross it might be. You're worth it. Oh my dear. You are too kind. Don't mention it. I felt my cheeks light up as though I'd already taken a swig. Ty's kiss was unexpected, but welcomed with great enthusiasm all the same. Well then, without further ado, to us, to our love, and to our long future together. To us, and to Gran, to Lucas, and to Apollo. Without them, we wouldn't be sitting here today. Cheers. Indeed, cheers. Oh my, are you alright, my love? Fuck. True enough, never before had a flavor so unspeakably vile ensnared my taste buds. The moment it crossed my tongue, my senses were immediately cast into disarray as my body commanded me to spit the beverage out in some crude attempt at self-preservation. But my commitment to my lover was so much more important, and so I swallowed as quickly as I was able, freeing my taste buds from that torment. At least, that's what I had hoped. Alas, the taste would linger on even after its source was no longer present. Here, Aiden, chase it with this glass of water. I violently grasped the glass, tossing its entire contents down my throat in an instant. And even that wasn't enough to free me from my torment. Oh my god! Ugh. I am sorry for subjecting you to that, my love. Hush. Uh-oh? I did it for you because you're worth it, and I'd do it again too, so don't apologize. Well, I thank you, Aiden, and you finished the glass. I must say, I'm so very proud of you. Still wearing pants. I gazed down at the glass that now sat evenly on the coaster atop the coffee table for me. True enough, nothing but ice remained. The same could be said for Ty's own glass. Had he truly managed that feat in silence, or had I been so preoccupied with my own disgust that I'd simply hadn't noticed? Was it everything you remembered? For better or for worse, yes. But remembering how horrible it does nothing to prepare for how foul it actually is in reality. Tremendously so, I would say. Though, allow me to put your mind at ease. You have matched me drop for drop as you promised, and one shot is more than enough for me. Hey, you better not be pitying me. If you want another shot, bring it on. I'm game. My, you are braver than I could have ever anticipated. Braver than I, of that I am certain. For there is little that would convince me to endure another. Well, except you, of course. For if it is what you desire, I too will gladly do so without question. That is not what you desire, is it, my love? Oh god, no, not in a million years. Well, thank goodness for that. For a moment, I was genuinely concerned. Don't worry, I could never be that cruel. Say, what do you think Gran saw in this raw sewage anyway? I asked Apollo that very same question once, though he had no definitive answer, only a theory. Something about a condition of sorts where certain flavors would almost become reversed, I suppose. An example being an affected individual may find sugar to be sour. Of course, he could do little more than speculate at the time. Gran was long gone and without a bottle whose contents he could inspect, there was nothing that could be done to achieve any degree of certainty. Apollo simply implied that to be the most likely explanation. Well, we have a bottle now. If you're still curious, maybe he would be willing to take a look. Perhaps it's even a good excuse to try calling him again. Ah, yes, you wish to express your gratitude. And there was a small matter of the ice cream stand, of course. It would be best such a situation is dealt with quickly, lest more people follow. One moment, please, my love. I will call him now. Ty retrieved his phone from his pocket and located Spencer in his contacts before starting the call. I suppose that calling his contact Apollo would have been rather foolish. Ty held the phone up to his ear, and only moments later did the look of confidence upon his face give way to doubt and confusion. Still nothing? Indeed. Straight to voicemail, same as before. Did you want to try my phone this time? Apollo only answers known numbers. It would be of no use. That being said, I'd like to try calling you to rule out the possibility of my phone malfunctioning, if that is okay with you. Of course it is. Go for it. Returning to his contacts, this time Ty located the entry for Aiden Heart emoticon in his contacts. Aww. Tap my name beginning the call. Retrieving my own phone from my pocket, I saw the incoming call from Ty. Then I answered it. After all, it was Ty calling. How could I not? Hey there, sexy tiger. It's so nice to hear from you. Come now, my dear. There's nobody more attractive on this call than you, and that is simply a fact. Oh yeah? Say that to my face, not over the phone, and then see what happens. Challenge accepted. You are clearly the most handsome man in this room, and being the gentleman that I am, I'd very much like to fetch you a drink. Would a pina colada suffice, my stunning husky companion? Woo, geez, is it hot in here or is it just me? I think I'll take that drink, thank you. Very good, I will be back with you momentarily. There's something I'd like to fetch from the bedroom first while I remember. Ain't no biscuit, I ain't risking it. Ty disappeared down the hallway once more, and I returned to face the fire, becoming captivated by its warm and cozy glow in an attempt to distract myself from the still lingering taste of whiskey that had taken residence in my mouth. Several moments would pass before Ty's eventual return, and he would come bearing a most unexpected surprise. Your drink, my love, and please, accept this belt to replace the one I broke earlier today. It is a designer brand made from only the finest materials. I strongly doubt you'll have any problems with the buckle on this one. Oh, Ty, thank you so much, but I don't blame you for breaking it. It was old and warped. It would have happened anyway. Honestly, I'm glad you were there to help me break free of it. You don't need to replace it. I am well aware of that, my dear, and rest assured it is a gift born of kindness, not guilt. As it would happen, I have more belts than I have pairs of pants, and this one would serve much better in your position. I feel that is all. Well, if you're sure, thank you, Ty. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure, my love, and speaking of pleasure, I cannot help but notice. Either you are very happy to see me, or you have a gift of your own to give. The timing on that. I think something happened to Apollo, though. He either was captured or he went with Artemis. All the while, Ty's talking about his dick, and talking about Aiden's dick, and I don't know how to feel about that. Huh? I look downward at my crotch. I know it. I can hear Diego calling escape from here, but in all seriousness, it actually is a gift I've been planning to. Yeah. Oh my, truly. Yep, just so you know, the whiskey wasn't the only thing I got you for your birthday. I actually had something prepared before things, well, got complicated, I suppose. And if I'm sorry, if I'm honest, it completely skipped my mind before, so I'm giving it to you now. I'm sorry it's late. I saw the gift free from my pocket, the metal exterior, warm from extended contact with my body. I handed it over to my blushing boyfriend as an unmistakable look of recognition took hold. Happy birthday again for yesterday. Oh my. I hope you like it. Thank you, my love. As it would happen, I'm quite familiar with Tiger's Bane. I'm certain we will make good use of this wonderful gift later on this evening. Actually, I was hoping you could help me. The clerk at the store explained it to me, but if I'm honest, I still can't make heads or tails of what exactly this stuff is. It would be my pleasure. Tiger's Bane is a line of is one of a line of olfactory aphrodisiacs. Put simply, it is a fragrance that can sharply enhance libido. There are several versions of the product that target different species, though many share the same active ingredients. For instance, Tiger's Bane and Wolf's Bane are the same product with different fragrance, and both of these products would be equally effective for any species whose origins are that of a carnivorous animal. Wait, so you mean to say it'll work on me too? Precisely, and the same could be said for many of our acquaintances. It will work on dingoes, foxes, cheetahs, even bears. It would not work on either of my bandmates nor the bar's newest employee for that very same reason. They have their own specific versions of this product which work for them and not us. And just like with ours, they come in a variety of different fragrances. Tiger's Bane specifically uses scents commonly associated with the homeland of my people. Scents of lush rainforests and their associated flora. That sounds eerily similar to the effects of exposure, doesn't it? It may seem that way at a glance, though the two are very different in their mechanisms and how they affect your physiology. Outwardly, they wouldn't present in a way that seemed all that different. There's also one other major consideration. These products, they tend to promote submissive behaviors as opposed to dominant ones. Sufficient doses can even contain even the wildest of men. Sounds like exactly the kind of help Jay needs. You might be right about that, my dear, and I'm certain Eric would not be so willing if he knew what he was getting himself into. Come to think of it, Jay was super submissive in his story. Is that what Tiger's Bane is like? With sufficient doses, I suppose it can be, yes. As I said, I'm familiar with the product, and I can see to have acted in similar ways under its influence. Hot damn, well then, keen to receive later on tonight, big guy? Do not forget that it works just as effectively on you as well. And as I recall it, though I suppose it all comes down to where the night takes us and how we both feeling by the end. I can't wait to find out. Nor can I, my love, nor can I. Truthfully... I wonder how Axel is doing. I imagine he is sober by now, though probably feeling rather unwell. Dom would have returned home hours ago by now. With any luck, maybe Axel's still asleep. Otherwise, I'm scared he might have found the courage he was looking for. Even so, you mentioned that Russell was not opposed to the idea of dating Axel either, yes? Even if things with Dom cannot be resolved, perhaps Axel will find his happiness elsewhere? As much as I hate to say it, I fear that Russell may in fact be the better choice and role model for him. Hate to say it, but you might even be right about that. It's not that Dom is a bad guy. He's clearly got some unresolved baggage. Not only that, but it seems as though he doesn't want to talk about it with anyone. Least of all Russell, who's been trying to help him out. It's rough, but if Axel chooses Russell, Dom will have to live with the knowledge that he only has himself to blame. Who knows? Maybe he'll be okay with that outcome, but something tells me that won't be the case. Will he trust you enough to speak about it? What about Diego? Diego just isn't the kind of person you'd go to for emotional advice. Even if he's not that bad at it when push comes to shove. As for me, there's no way Dom trusts me enough. Maybe if things had happened differently, we would have become closer, but that's not how things went. From what I can piece together, it sounds like he's dated a best friend once before, and it went badly. So badly that their friendship was lost along the way. At least, that's my best guess. But if that's accurate, I can understand why Dom is so reluctant, so afraid to respond to Axel's advances. I could not imagine what losing a best friend would be like, especially one who had been in your life for such a long time. If I ever lost Lucas, I do not know how I would handle it. Honestly, I think it would break me. Yeah, I feel you there. Diego and I have had our ups and downs, but not having him in my life for these last 2 years felt like a part of me was missing. If only for that reason, moving to Woodcrest was the right move. But of course, it led me to meet you. That's even better. My dear, you must not say such things. Though I share in your enthusiasm, I am so glad that we met. Me too. I couldn't have found a better guy, or a hotter one. Nor could a more attractive gentleman have ever found me. When you first visited, I admit I was dumbstruck by how attractive you were, but I was almost twice your age. I knew how unlikely it was that I would ever have a chance with you. And then you turn up alone at the bar, dropping so many obvious hints and flirting like a madman. I couldn't believe my luck, and I couldn't believe mine. Say, do you think you could have ever dated Diego? The two of you already bicker like a married couple, but it's clear you both care for one another a lot. I don't know. Honestly, I think so. Truth is, I had a crush on him for a while, but it just never really went anywhere, I guess. I guess I didn't really pursue it for the same reason Dom hasn't. We already had such a great friendship, I didn't want to risk that. I see. Do you suppose that your feelings towards Diego and Dom's feelings towards Axel are the same as how Logan feels? Oh, with Toby? Truth be told, I don't know exactly what happened between them. I just know they had a falling out. Toby extended an olive branch and Logan refused to take it. Then Toby moved away, leaving Logan to regret his decision. Even now, still weighs heavily on his shoulders. That just means he is a good person. Good people make mistakes. His emotions likely got in the way of accepting that olive branch, which sets good people apart from the bad, and what sets good people apart from the bad is a desire to correct their mistakes, to build bridges and mend fences. I spoke to Lucas earlier when we were packing up after practice. I told him what I know, but alas, it was not enough to draw any conclusions. I think the only thing we can ascertain for sure whether Toby and Tobias are one and the same would be to find out more information from Logan directly. And on top of that, I can find out if this Tobias is the same as the one who got me in so much trouble back in university. Indeed, it seems like an uncanny coincidence, but nothing you have said leads me to think otherwise. Yeah, I'll make a point to ask him the next time I see him, though I don't know when that will be, though. No. Never mind, I'm certain you will be seeing him again soon. Wait, you were going to say something. Why did you stop? Oh, worry not, my love. I simply thought better of it, that is all. It was a terrible idea. Anyway, forget I said anything. I don't know why I continued to push, but as my brain rapidly cycled through possibilities, one specific idea struck. I did not know if it was what Ty had in mind, nor would I know how to approach such a crazy idea in reality, but all the same I wanted to know. Terrible or not, you can tell me. I won't judge you or anything, and any ideas you have, I promise that I'll give them fair consideration. I know you will, my love, but you know how it is. My exposure led to a momentary lapse in judgment. It was silly to conceal the existence of such a terrible idea. Thankfully, not too late to stop myself from sharing it. Please, it was foolish of me. Kindly forget that I said anything. I still want to hear it, foolish or otherwise. I know what it's like being exposed. I know what it's like to have crazy thoughts and bad decisions under that influence. And knowing that, I still want to hear it. After all, you know all about what happened at the hot springs. Indeed, that I do, but please, my love, I respect your request, truly I do. But I do not think this is such a good idea. But I know I promised to keep no secrets from you. The way I see it, this counts as well. Do you truly wish to know? I did, if only because I had an inkling of what he was about to ask. Maybe it was simply wishful thinking. Maybe I was misconstruing the whole situation, believing that it was something other than what Ty had really had in mind. Of course, the only way to know for sure was to find out. Please, Ty. Very well, my love. And for what it is worth, I apologize profusely in advance for what I'm about to say. It is like I said, I thought better of this, but perhaps it is best that you know, so here it is. Last night you mentioned that Logan wanted an encounter with multiple participants other than himself. You also mentioned that you had promised to keep an eye out for such an opportunity, and that you regretted not being able to keep that promise on account of the relationship. There was no way. My terrible idea was simply that, if for whatever reason you're not opposed, I would be more than happy to be that extra participant and assist you in fulfilling your promise to Logan. No fucking way. I am so sorry, my dear. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. Either that or he's imagining what a threesome would be like. Whatever, you're full of shit. Dude, I'm telling you, I can see shit like this a mile away. You really gotta learn to trust your old buddy Diego one of these days. You're taking a little thing and blowing it way the hell out of proportion, Diego. Nuh-uh, mark my words, someday soon he's gonna float that idea with you, and you'll see that I was right. Yeah, when pigs fly. It was exactly as I'd feared. Okay, so Ty just floated the idea of a threesome. Exactly as Diego had anticipated, and I guess that wasn't so surprising in context, but all the same, it seemed so out of character for Ty. Then again, was it really? After all, he had told me all about his on and off sexual relationship with Lucas. Was this really so out of the norm? And what did this mean for us exactly? Was this indicative of a problem in our relationship? Could something like this be our undoing? Was it healthy? Did you find Logan more attractive than me? Could he? My dear, please say something. I just lost $100. What? Somehow Diego saw this exact scenario coming. I thought he had gone mad. So much so I bet $100 he was wrong. I suppose even a broken clock is right twice a day, yes? But the absurdity of Diego being right for what seems like the first time in his entire life is not lost on me. Regardless, I apologize. I understand that I've crossed a line, and I feel so incredibly foolish for having done so. It's okay, don't fret, okay? It's a lot to take in, that much is certain. But there's no cause for any concern. Well, I am pleased to hear that, my dear. What do you think of Logan? Do you find him attractive? Not as attractive as you, my love. Never as attractive as you, though I'll concede that I understand Logan's appeal. As if from out of the blue, I recalled a brief moment from earlier in the day. A moment which, at the time, had failed to register as being of any importance. As being what it truly was. A moment that now, knowing what I desired, made an awful lot of sense. I like your ring. Bye. Oh no. With almost supersonic speed, Logan practically leapt from the water before scurrying across the cobblestones to where he had stored his own clothing. And as he moved, so would Ty's gaze. His sights locked firmly on the bear with a curious expression I struggled to decipher. Logan's pace did not wane as he dressed before finally scampering through the front entrance and down the path. His cheeks still that same rosy red. Finally, he turned a corner and disappeared from our view. And even then, Ty's intense gaze remained. It was almost as though he were in a trance. Ty? If he had heard my voice, he had given no indication of the fact. Just what on earth had gotten into him? I pondered the possibilities. Ty, hey, are you okay over there? Oh? Apologies, my dear. I do not know what came over me. It was strange and certainly out of character for Ty to be lost in a trance. I knew all too well we both had a complicated past few days. I decided not to question it, instead choosing to discuss recent events. You smelled him too, didn't you? Indeed. When he got out of the water, his scent had struck me like a freight train. It was like the camping trip all over again. I could hardly regain my composure. He smells fucking amazing, right? Oh, well... I cannot deny that you were right, my dear. His fragrance was simply exquisite. Right? Do I smell that good? You smell even better, my love, but I do concede to having a bias. Logan's scent was nonetheless very striking indeed. Though, my love, I must ask, what does this mean? Are you okay? Are we okay? Of course we are, and it means I'm interested, but there are a few things we need to discuss before we make any decisions. I'm so relieved to hear that. Indeed, there is much we should discuss. Are there any pressing matters on your mind, my love? Yeah, what will this mean for us? Like, does this mean we're non-exclusive? Does this make us swingers? Does this mean we'll be doing this sort of thing often? Those are all decisions best made by the both of us together. But speaking purely of my intentions, it would be a one-off unless we both agreed specifically to do it again. It would only ever be something we do as a couple, never alone. As for what it makes us, it does not make us anything. We are lovers, friends, dare say soulmates. This will change none of that. It would not change how I feel about you, how I love you. This isn't a sign of a problem between us, right? Something like this, it's not going to ruin things, is it? Not if we approached it with the right intentions and clear minds. Something like this requires excellent communication, not just within the couple, but between all three people involved. There is an inherent danger, yes, but so long as we are of the same mind and communicate well, there's nothing to fear. Is something like this healthy, like for our relationship? Only if we all want the same thing and have no doubts. As I said, communication is key. The short answer is, it can be, yes. We just have to make it so. And if such a thing were ever to happen, please know that my commitment to you would never waver. It would never be about me or what I want. It would be about what we want, the two of us together. And nothing would change between us except that we would have shared an exciting experience together. Exciting, you say? Please, do not misunderstand. Exciting for us both as long as our desires were perfectly aligned. Admittedly, Ty done a wonderful job of putting my fears to rest. His honesty was clear, so was his dedication to me. I felt assured that I had nothing to worry about. I felt as though I could trust Ty, and that I would always come first for him, no matter what. It is kind of exciting, though, isn't it? All of this, it's new to me, but I can't think of anybody I trust more to do it with, so what the hell, sign me up. Aiden, my love. You are certain this is what you want? Please, if you have any doubts. I have no doubts. You've already put them to rest. Truth is, I trust you. I know you mean what you say. I know that you'll always remain true to your word. I know I'll always be your number one in all of this, and you'll always be mine as well. So, let's say we have a little fun together. My dear, I'm so glad we were of the same mind. Aren't you glad I pressured you to take the chance? Oh, perhaps I am a little. But remember, that only accounts for the two of us. Just because Logan suggested he would be interested in a threesome, that does not mean he would be interested in a threesome with us. Specifically, threesomes with already established couples can be, well, some couples agree to such drastic scenarios in a last-ditch effort to save a failing relationship. The third person can be walking into a minefield. It is not unheard of for people to avoid threesomes with couples for that exact reason. There is also the question of whether Logan will be attracted to me. I am much older than either of you, and while you might be okay with that, Logan might not feel the same way. In short, he would have to want this too. We cannot put pressure on him, nor do anything that might sway his decision. He has to choose this for himself, and with that in mind, I feel the first logical step would be to gain his confidence. To that end, I would suggest that we begin by spending some time with him. The topic of a threesome should not even be brought up at first, nor should we expect such a thing to occur anytime soon. If everything feels right, we can approach the subject later on. To tell you the truth, I would have hoped to do so regardless, sexual motivations aside. Logan intrigues me, I suppose. There's clearly far more to him than first meets the eye. That sounds like a good plan. Why don't we invite him over tonight? We can share a few drinks and get to know him a little better. Tonight? Well, I do not see why not, though getting here may be an issue. No, I'm done with that. I just have one last question. Yes, my love? What about our pheromones? We had that medicine first thing this morning. Surely it's starting to wear off by now, right? And fluids. They're a rapid way to spread exposure, right? Seems like a risk. That is very smart thinking on your part, my love. Thankfully, our friend Apollo is a touch more fiendish than you might have anticipated. See, when he delivered the medicine to me the other night, he also gave me a small supply of the pheromone blockers on their room. You do not contain the medicine component and are safer in terms of tolerance. Though he did say so in such bold words. I believe his intentions was that these should be used for any late-night fluid transfers to minimize the risk of re-exposure due to our medicines wearing off. Apollo believes that the medicine is sufficient for proximity-based exposure for a full 24 hours. Sexual encounters, however, are a very different story. He certainly would not have expected us to use them to prevent accidental exposure with a third person. Remember, though, the medicine is simply a safeguard. The likelihood that Logan is even more receptive to pheromones is very, very low. About 1 in 50, if I'm not mistaken, so chances are there's nothing to worry about in the first place. You're sure this medicine will do the job? It's also to prevent any re-exposure between us. Indeed, and Apollo, I trust his chemistry. After all, he learned from the Grandmaster of Chemistry himself, Artemis. To this day, our science is still hundreds of years behind what Artemis was capable of brewing hundreds of years ago. We're still safe. So many marvels of human science lost along with him. What a tragedy. My point is, the medicine will work. Of that you can be certain. Alright, shall I make the call? If you're satisfied, then so am I. Just remember that tonight's focus will be fostering friendships. We should not mention our other intentions until such a time that it feels right. Should such a time even come to pass. Gotcha. Alright, here we go. I drew my cell phone from my pocket once again and opened up my contacts. I scrolled down until I found the name I was looking for, Logan, and with a deep nervous breath, I initiated the call. Aiden! Hi! Hey Logan, how are things? Having a good night? Oh, yep, I've been working on my new book. I'm really happy with how it's turning out. That's awesome! Will I get to read it one day? One day, when it's done. I can't wait. Hey, I hope running into you like that earlier on today wasn't too uncomfortable for you. Oh, it was okay. Ty, he seems really nice. Congratulations again, Aiden. I'm glad you think so, and thanks, Logan. I'm really lucky. Actually, that's why I'm calling too. Huh? You're my friend, right? Well, Ty wants to be your friend too, so we were wondering if you wanted to come around and spend the evening with us. Oh, I know that probably makes you really nervous. There's no pressure, okay? The important thing is that you're comfortable. You can say no and we won't be upset about it. Logan? I'll, think about it, okay? Of course, like I said, there's no pressure, but the address is 5 Alabaster Place. We'll be relaxing by the fire for most of the evening, I'd say, so feel free to drop by. Oh, and if you need a lift, just say so. It's raining kinda heavily out there, huh? Yeah. Alright, well, whatever happens, have a good night, okay? We'll catch up soon regardless. Okay, bye. I take it he was rather nervous? He was really upbeat until I made the suggestion. His nerves definitely took hold. It's what I expected, though. Honestly, I wouldn't be expecting him to show up tonight. That is quite alright. It is as I said, the most important thing is that we all feel comfortable, and Logan is no exception to that. I agree, and I looked down at my glass which had previously contained a pina colada. It was not completely empty, and the same could be said for Ty's. I wouldn't mind another drink. A tremendous suggestion, my love. Wait right here, I'll fetch us another. Ty got up from his cozy spot on the couch and carried both of our glasses back into the kitchen. As we began preparing our drinks, I stared out into the night through those massive living room windows once more. It really was pouring out there, perhaps even enough to cause some flooding? At least Ty and I were warm and dry inside by the fire. It was the greatest comfort I could imagine, and I wouldn't have traded it for anything. And you would not believe it, but our momentary stop at the side of the road was all it took for us to become stranded yet again. It was the last thing we could have anticipated after so many long hours on the road, but it seemed as though the battery had died. Broken down again? Time flies when you're having fun. Roughly 2 hours had come and gone since I had spoken with Logan. Time that was spent savoring the delicious tropical flavors of Ty's famous pina coladas, while indulging in enthusiastic discussions and sharing entertaining tales from each of our respective pasts. Most recently, there had been mention of the Black Claw's first ever touring bus. Remembered in infamy for being so comically capricious and for the many ridiculous situations that spawned from its constant and egregious breakdowns. Sensing the inception of a highly amusing tale, I eagerly requested further details, a request that Ty was more than happy to fulfill. Indeed, my dear, it was exceptionally reliable in its unreliability. That much was abundantly clear. And here I thought the life of a rock star sounded kinda neat. This just sounds like a total drag. You must remember that our debut album was only released a few weeks beforehand. The Black Claws were largely unknown in those days, and our record sales, or better said our lack thereof, were mostly than ample proof. We were incredibly fortunate when a larger and more established band took interest, inviting us to open for them on all 21 dates of their national tour. It was a golden opportunity to introduce new audiences to our music and spread our name across all four corners of the country. Though in reality we only played 16 of those dates, our fickle mode of transport responsible for 4 of those 5 cancellations. Our less than stellar album remuneration, combined with an as of yet underdeveloped fandom, made certain we were never flush with cash. When we caught wind of a full-size bus that was selling for next to nothing, it almost seemed too good to be true. Alas, we would each learn a valuable lesson that day. If something seems too good to be true, that is usually because it is. Our first breakdown was during the afternoon before our second show of the tour, and tragically, the repairs demanded more than a full day to complete. Thankfully, it was not long before we were finally back in business. That was until barely a week later when our transmission completely gave out. Yikes, I don't know a whole lot about cars, but that doesn't sound like cheap things to fix. I can assure you they were not. We struggled to scrounge enough cash together to cover for the bill. It was 4 days and 2 more missed shows until we were back on the road once again. And let me guess, this is where your battery died, right? Indeed, how ridiculous is that? We were an hour and a half from civilization surrounded by nothing but desert in every direction as far as the eye could see. We were fortunate in that we could place an emergency call using Lucas's nifty satellite phone. Though none of us could recall the name of the road we were on, nor were there any visible landmarks our would-be rescuers could utilize to aid in triangulating our location. We needed rescue, but we had no idea where our rescuers needed to come. It was the apex of a particularly brutal summer, and the heat of the scorching sun was completely unbearable. And because the bus would not start, we no longer had any air conditioning. Ah, hell, surely things can't get any worse, right? Aiden, my love, you should know by now that they always get worse. It was many sweltering hours in unimaginable heat before rescue finally arrived. And as would happen, our battery was perfectly fine, just completely drained because of our seemingly defective alternator. I'm beginning to think that bus was cursed. Believe me, we were thinking the very same thing. That time, we actually had to beg our label for an advance to get us back on the move once more, and because it had taken so long to rescue us, we missed a show that night as well. Against all odds, the bus managed to hold together for the remainder of the tour. We missed another show, but that was on account of Glenn disappearing God knows where for an entire 16 hours, missing the show entirely. What happens on tour, I suppose. Finally, the tour had reached its conclusion and we were on our way back home. We had just traveled through Somerville and had not long before the final ascent of the mountain road as the cabin of the bus began to fill with smoke. We pressed on, our fingers crossed ever so tightly that we would make it to our destination. But then, somewhere close by the halfway mark, the bus quite literally burst into flames. In a panic, we rescued our gear and instruments before the fire could spread. But for all the good the lone fire extinguisher we carried on board was doing, it might as well have merely tickled the furious blaze that had already conquered the engine compartment. What the fuck, man? Indeed, and I can assure you that Glenn said far more in vastly more colorful vernacular. As for myself, I found it all painfully fitting. After all, considering everything that horrible bus had subjected us to already, finally bursting into flames seemed like a logical and appropriate finale. By that stage, it was late evening, and all those years ago, traffic on that mountain road was sparse. Doubly so during the evening. In all the commotion, none of us had thought to save the satellite phone from the blaze. We were stranded, and this time, with how unlikely it was that a passerby would stumble upon the situation, we simply had to make it home on foot. With no other alternatives, we abandoned the raging inferno that once had been our tour bus and began the grueling uphill journey with our instruments in tow. Glenn and I carried our guitars on our backs and a selection of belongings in either hand. As for Lucas, we had a pair of large road cases that contained Lucas's entire drum kit, a selection of cymbals and amp heads, and so much more besides. All stacked up, the cases were as tall as Lucas was, and no doubt almost as heavy to boot. He pushed them uphill for more than 2 hours. We spent more than half of that time in the black of night and the lights of Sidonia behind, and the stars above did very little to illuminate the path ahead. Thank goodness the cases had wheels, and thank goodness this happened earlier in our career when we only had the 2. Thankfully, we made it home in one piece, exhausted, bewildered, and more than a little angry, but otherwise unscathed. And in the months that followed, we would play show after show, night after night, slowly saving money for a more trustworthy method of transport. Forget what I said about being cursed. Only thing for that caliber of evil is a good old-fashioned exorcism. What did you guys do about the wreck? Well, the following morning, a panicked phone call from a friend who seemed to think we all died horrible fiery death stirred me from my slumber. Not so, thankfully, only the bus. And good riddance, too. We had only had the thing for a few short months, and we had spent more money fixing it than it cost us in the first place. And as for the man who sold it to us, well, we never saw him again. I am dead sure he made sure we would not, knowing we would soon return dissatisfied. Swear to God, I can't speak English. We even had to pay for the wreckage to be removed. The fire had left it completely gutted, and there was nothing so much as scrap that could have been salvaged to offset the cost, which was little more than what the bus had cost us in the first place. Even in death, that evil bus still found no ways to screw you. Can't exactly blame it, though. I'd love to screw you, too. Oh dear, it is that time, is it not? I suppose it is getting rather late, and it would be preferable to make us... I don't have any sticks near me. I chewed them all up. And it would be preferable to make a start while we still have the energy for it. I'm gonna, hide. Tremendously smooth segue, by the way. Thanks. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't at least a little proud of it. And I'm sure you'll find I'm much more fun than some rinky-dink old bus. I will not doubt it for a second, my dear. While the bus certainly screwed me good, I cannot say it was my idea of a good time. And I'm easier on the wallet, too. But that doesn't mean you can't incur a debt. I know exactly what you mean by love, and rest assured, it is a debt I have every intention of repaying. You need only say when. An eager smile crossed my lips as I reclined comfortably in Ty's sofa. He locked eyes as I gazed back expectantly before finally uttering the magic word. When? I've been looking forward to this all day, my love. Ty climbed down from his position on top of the sofa and onto his knees before pivoting a... Oh God. Hold up. Let me go back real quick. I felt my body tremble with excitement as he drew near. Still, I couldn't wait. I simply couldn't wait. And then... With a disappointed sigh, Ty backed away and climbed to his feet. Such comically unfortunate timing. I'm so sorry, Aiden. You're having quite a day for poorly timed interruptions. You can say that again. I know we invited him around, but damn, if Logan doesn't have a lot to answer for, I didn't expect that he would even come. I understand your frustration, but you must not hold him to account. Though he is surprisingly late, and the weather is still so ghastly, surely he did not walk here. Even after we offered him a ride and everything. I suppose there's little point in formulating theories. I'll answer the door so you have time to get yourself decent. We can ask him our questions directly. As I begrudgingly covered myself up, once again denied the pleasure I so strongly desired, I pondered the circumstances at hand, recalling the night Logan and I had supped together. Tonight's time delay no longer seemed so unusual, though there stood little to address the other matters. I continued considering these details as I heard the front door open, and I would soon become privy to the obvious possibility that both of us had entirely overlooked. Well, a very good evening to you, too. To what do I owe the pleasure? Oh, of course. Where are my manners? Please, coming out of the rain. You may place your umbrella in my holder to my left. The obvious conclusion that somebody other than Logan was paying us a visit. That motherfucker. Have you met Aiden, my partner? Aiden, I recognize you. From the bar this morning. That's right. And you're Maxwell. I watched your fight this morning. Sorry things didn't go your way. Oh, you saw that? I'm proud of that performance. Y'all locals fight a lot dirtier than I'm used to. But never you mind all that. I'm actually here on business, which calls for a more formal introduction. Name's Maxwell of House Scarn, or Maxwell Ortega. In fitting with your customs, I still don't quite get this whole surname thing. Anyway, I represent an organization known as United Medical Council. You motherfucker. Get the fuck... No. Get the sticks, because we're going to be poking his dead body. Good evening to you both. Sorry about the hour of my visit. Hope I ain't interrupting nothing. The UMC. Maxwell, He was the agent who had been stalking Apollo. I knew not how much he knew, but the simple fact he was here in Ty's very own living room, it meant that he already knew far too much, and that he was already much, much too close for comfort. I understand you're familiar with us already, but I ain't so sure how much of what you know is true, so I'm going to play it safe and take it from the top. Last thing I want is you thinking we're something we're not. The United Medical Council is an Ortegan-led multinational conglomerate specializing in medical research and development. We have ties to governments and other private entities. We're an independent organization with no political allegiance. We also ain't profit-driven. Most of our income comes from research grants, healthcare contracts, and that sort of thing. And being Ortegan-led, our number one priority is naturally finding a cure for doomsday clock disorder. I understand you're familiar with that too? We're strictly white hat, and we value our code of ethics above all else. Any contracts or assignments we undertake have to... Hold up.
Fuck you! 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 Fuck you!
Yeah. Maxwell, you better get the fuck out of here. We're strictly white and hat, and we value our code of ethics above all else. Any contracts or assignments we undertake have to meet stringent ethical criteria, and must always be for the greater good. We've got an entire panel dedicated to debating and voting on those kinds of decisions. They're tough, too. The ends have got to do more than justify the means, you know? In the last 2 years alone, we've developed all kinds of new medical apparatuses, treatments, medicines, you name it. We've made heaps of progress curing several progressive diseases. That don't sound so bad, right? It sounds pretty amazing if you ask me. That sure is a sweet, clean pitch you have there, Maxwell, but I suspect you are not here tonight, especially at such a late hour, simply because you seek donations. Now, the UMC don't accept private donations, helps keep us impartial and all that. And perhaps you'd like to tell me why you are here? It was obvious that Ty was already on the defensive, his lips tightly sealed as not to give anything away inadvertently. Like me, Ty knew not how much Maxwell already knew. Maxwell's knowledge surrounding what we knew was a bad omen, to say the least. Maxwell unleashed a melancholy sigh as a passionate smile quickly faded from his face. It seemed as though he was about to dispense with the formalities and get straight down to business. I had a feeling the extent of his knowledge was something that would soon become very clear indeed. Come on, Ty, you can quit playing coy with me. I'm here seeking Apollo's whereabouts. We know he's here in Woodcrest. Has been for a long time. It seems like, and we know you had a thing with him a little while back. Things have been poorly between us. We have not spoken since, and he never informed me of where he lived. Lying to me ain't going to do you no good. We've been taking pheromone measurements at your bar for a while now, and it's one of our new party tricks. The reading I took this morning was a flat 0. A recovery that fast, it just ain't possible, not with last week's numbers. But another immortal, Artemis, he once formulated a concoction capable of doing just that, at least for a day or so. And he and Apollo, they were close, once. It would make perfect sense if Apollo could make it himself, which means you've been in contact recently. What on earth are you talking about? Maxwell sighed before reaching into his pocket and retrieving a small black device. I watched it light up as he pressed a button on the unit, and after several seconds, it beeped. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Your reading just now ain't 0 no more. It's low. Very low, but it ain't 0. Your medicine is beginning to wear off. Whatever it is you think you know, I do not care. You can expect no cooperation from us. We will do whatever it takes to protect Apollo's life. Then you've got nothing to worry about. It's like I told you. We're all about ethics. Strictly white hat and all that. We ain't gonna hurt him. We just want his cooperation in some medical research. I cast my mind back to the conversation I'd had with Apollo a couple days prior. The UMC had once captured another immortal by the name of Athena. She did not survive. What about Athena? I guess she didn't cooperate, seeing as she's dead. Actually, Athena was entirely cooperative. A great help, actually. We owe a lot to her. It was her that led us to the key which could eventually become the cure for doomsday clock disorder. But actually, making the cure was time-consuming, and we need her for study until it was done. She got sick out of nowhere, died soon after. We couldn't finish it without her. Do you really expect us to believe that an immortal who had lived for 6,000 years just died? In the custody of a medical research organization, no less. And you expect us to believe her death was just a coincidence? I know, it don't look good. I get why you don't believe it. But it's true, Athena was helping us because she wanted to. And believe me, we did everything we could to save her. But we'd never seen an illness like that before. Immortals are immune to most illnesses. Yep, and whatever happened to her, it ain't something us mortals can get. Over the course of a few weeks, the cells in her body just stopped replicating. One minute she was perfectly healthy by 6,000-year-old immortal standards, and the next, it was like she was falling apart. That's why we need Apollo. She was long gone before the cure could be completed, so we're racing against time to find another immortal. But they really don't want to be found. Seems they distrust your organization. They've had 6,000 years to refine their judgment in which I will happily place my full confidence. Apollo seems to think that this cure of yours will come with terrible consequences. Maybe it does, but when the alternative is the extinction of all civilized life, it's kind of hard to imagine those consequences being any worse than that. It's worth a shot if you ask me, to save my people, and to save us all. If we find another immortal quickly enough, we can still this disorder before even a single species is lost. But with so few immortals left, it's a desperate race against time. For our southern folk especially, ain't many of them left, even in Ortega. You ain't likely to see one unless you go to the remains of their capital. Even that's mostly crumbling ruins by now. A real depressing sight. But it's not too late. We can still save them. Still save all of Ortega, the entire world. And just think, if you two were the ones who led us to the cure, you'd be heroes. Apollo too. You'd all be heroes. If he even survived the ordeal. Hey, we're a medical organization. We're only looking to help people, not hurt them. As long as he's in our care, he'll be treated like a king. I promise. Just think of how much good you can do. Of how many lives you can save. All you need to do is tell me where I can find him. Sorry, but it is like we already told you. We will not be helping you. You are merely wasting your time. Yeah, sorry Maxwell, but our lips are sealed. We've made a promise and we're sticking to it no matter what. You're both acquainted with the southerner living here in Woodquest, are you not? The Asilage boy? What was his name? Jay, was it? His kind is right on the brink. If you can help me, that can still be reversed. Knowing this, would you truly condemn his kind? Judging from what he said this morning, I don't doubt he would do so were the choice his to make. It's bad, I know, but the reason things are the way they are is because of our looming extinction. If we put a stop to it, no more kids would need to go through what Jay did. What I did. Things were the same for you? Yep, that's how things are everywhere in Ortega, not just down south. I understand why Jay feels the way he does. I understand why he wants nothing to do with it all. But the same reasons are why I want to be part of the solution. It doesn't have to be like that, and in spite of that, I'm still so proud of our people. We have a rich culture and a storied history. I don't want to see it all come down to such an unfortunate end. We will be saving our species, not just from DCD, but from ourselves. Don't you guys want to be heroes? Apollo does not trust you, so neither will we. There is nothing heroic about turning him over to you. Nothing at all. You'll have to think of something else. We're not going to tell you anything. But please, think about what is at stake. I think you should leave, Maxwell. I see. Well, I'm getting a call. A moment, please. Maxwell raised his phone to his ear before he began speaking with an unknown caller on the other end. Using this distraction to our advantage, Ty and I turned to one another to discuss recent events in our shared state of panic. I knew I had seen him before. He has been visiting the bar for at least a few weeks now to conduct his readings, no doubt. And it seems as though the medicine only served to add fuel to his already raging inferno. I've taken such care, too much care, I thought, not to let anything slip or say the wrong thing. All because I feared this would happen. But in the end, it was my exposure that gave it away. Paul said nothing about them being able to measure it. Perhaps he doesn't know. He said it was a new thing, right? Do you think he's telling us the truth? We're doing the right thing, Ty? Did Apollo ever explain to you what they believe the UMC are truly after? He did mention that this cure was actually immortality itself. He made that much rather clear. Indeed. Know that a mature version of Doomsday Clock disorder itself is the very mechanism through which immortals are rendered sterile. And according to Apollo, there is not a single heterosexual among their number, and only a single female, no less. The immortals themselves are dangerously close to extinction. By that metric, how is immortality with those conditions a cure for Doomsday Clock disorder? It will not turn an already straight man gay, but it will render him sterile. At best, immortality will delay the inevitable. According to Apollo, Dionysus had a theory, unproven mind you, though Apollo felt it made a lot more sense than the UMC's claims. You recall how Maxwell mentioned that they do not accept private donations? Yeah. Apparently this is not the case, and that several extremely wealthy individuals are responsible for the majority of the UMC's cash flow. Allegedly, the UMC knows all too well there is no cure for DCD, found in studying an immortal. Dionysus believed that instead they seek immortality. Clearly this is an ill-fitting solution to this specific problem. Instead, he believes they're being financially motivated to give those powerful and wealthy men all the time in the world to continue expanding their already vast fortunes. That's really bad. Maxwell doesn't know this, right? It is only a theory. It may not be true. Regardless, I trust in Apollo's judgment. That is all that really matters. With that said, I also do not believe Maxwell is lying to us, at least knowingly. I believe that he believes what he has told us, and that he is doing this all for the right reasons. If that theory was known to be true, I doubt he would knowingly go along with it. Thus, they keep him in the dark. Nothing more than their pawn. Should we tell him? We have no proof, nor do we even know for sure. He would never believe us, not when he is so passionate about his cause. We should instead focus our energy on warning Apollo. I fear that Woodcrest is no longer safe for him. Agreed, we should. Sorry about the interruption and for leaving so suddenly. There's been a breakthrough. Thanks for your time. A breakthrough? Yep, if the boss is right, we figured out where he's hiding all by ourselves. So I'll be paying him a visit, asking for his cooperation. I can't believe we're actually going to finally cure this damn thing. I've been waiting too long for this day. If you're ever in the sands, look me up, because it sounds like I'm getting to go home finally. Maxwell made his departure with a distinctive spring in his step. We're going to leave off here tonight. Well, we need something to make us feel better. Hang on. Let me jump into the files real quick, into the video game files. Right? Man, I can't show that one. I'm like going through the files right now. Actually, let me go to Diego. There we go. No. Can't do that one. Fuck. Let's try a different game file. Sileo. The game where just when you think there's an end to the drama, it says nope straight to your face. Yeah. 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 Here we go. Okay, so I've been playing this game, like, on my own, and it is amazing. It's, socially awkward. It's this visual novel that's just fucking adorable. Like, this is all I could find. Let me, like, share my display real quick. This image is adorable. Fuck. Right here. Hopefully that's enough eye bleach. Anyways, yeah, I think I'm gonna, like, hop off and then immediately hop back on to make a TikTok live. So, stay safe. Have a good night, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.